There is something inside you that is greater than every obstacle outside of you. The problem is not the size of your dreams. It is the size of your thinking. If you want a bigger life, you must first think bigger than your fears, your failures, and your circumstances. The world does not reward small dreams. It rewards bold ideas, courageous action, and unstoppable belief. Your mind is your greatest asset. Your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever own. And yet most people spend more time taking care of their phones than they do taking care of their thoughts. Everything you will ever create, achieve, or experience begins first in your mind before it shows up in your reality. If you want a bigger life, you must first build a bigger mind. The thoughts you entertain daily are like the blueprint of your future. They quietly shape your habits, your decisions, and ultimately your destiny. Most people underestimate the power of their inner world and spend their lives reacting to circumstances instead of creating them. They let fear, doubt, and limitation set the boundaries of what is possible, never realizing that the moment they change their thoughts, they begin to change their entire direction in life. Think about it. Every major breakthrough you admire, every invention, every company, every revolutionary idea started as nothing more than a thought. Someone somewhere dared to imagine something that did not exist and believed that it could be made real. That is the power of your mind. It can take what is invisible and make it visible. But most people are so busy focusing on what they don't want that they never fully activate the creative power of their thinking. They replay their failures, magnify their fears, and shrink their dreams to fit the size of their doubts. And what happens? Their life begins to mirror exactly what they think about the most. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant will grow, whether those seeds are fear, worry, and excuses, or faith, confidence, and vision. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, not smart enough, not lucky enough, then your actions will match that belief, and you will find proof everywhere that you are right. But if you dare to speak bigger over yourself, to tell yourself that you are capable, resourceful, and destined for more, your actions will rise to match that belief too. You will start looking for solutions where you used to see dead ends. You will see opportunities where you once saw problems. This is why protecting your mind is so critical, because it is constantly building the reality you will one day live in. We live in a noisy world where negative voices are everywhere. On social media, in the news, even in our closest circles. If you are not intentional about what you allow into your mind, those voices will set the limits for you. You cannot feed your mind with negativity all day and expect to live a powerful life. You must become the guardian of your thoughts. Just as you would not let a stranger walk into your home and dump trash on your living room floor, you cannot allow every thought, every criticism, every fear to take root in your mind. You must decide what stays and what goes, because what stays will grow. When you start seeing your mind as your greatest asset, you treat it with respect. You begin feeding it with knowledge, surrounding it with inspiration, and stretching it with big ideas. You read books that challenge you. You spend time with people who make you think bigger. You focus on solutions instead of problems. And slowly, you begin to notice a shift. You stop being controlled by circumstances and start controlling them. You stop waiting for life to hand you a chance and begin creating your own. You start believing in possibilities that once felt impossible, simply because your mind has been trained to see more, to expect more, to create more. This is why the first step to thinking big is not taking action. It is transforming the way you think. Once your thinking expands, everything else in your life will expand with it. The truth is, most of the limits holding you back are not real barriers. They are mental walls you have built over time. These walls are made of fear, past failures, other people's opinions, and your own self-doubt. The moment you dare to think bigger, those walls begin to crack and crumble. Big thinking is the hammer that smashes through the false ceilings you have accepted as reality. When you choose to expand your vision beyond what is comfortable, you immediately start to see possibilities that were always there, but hidden from you by small thinking. Think of your mind as a room. Small thinking keeps you in a tiny, dark space with no windows. You can only see what is right in front of you, so you move carefully, afraid to bump into the walls. You feel trapped because you believe this is all there is. But the moment you think big, it is as if someone knocks down those walls, and you find yourself in an open field. able to move freely in every direction. The space did not suddenly appear. It was always there. What changed was your willingness to break out of the box that you had put yourself in. Big thinking forces you to question the excuses you have been telling yourself for years. It challenges you to stop saying, "I can't," and start asking, "How can I?" It demands that you see beyond your current resources, your current skills, and even your current circumstances. You may not have the money, the experience, or the connections right now. But when you think big, you start looking for ways to get them. You stop focusing on what you lack and start focusing on what is possible. This shift in perspective is often the difference between staying stuck for years and finally breaking through to the next level. When you begin to think big, your problems do not disappear, but they lose their power over you. The challenges that once seemed impossible now look like stepping stones. You stop seeing them as reasons to quit and start seeing them as opportunities to grow stronger. Big thinking does not ignore reality. It simply refuses to let reality dictate the size of the dream. You start to realize that the real limitation was never the obstacle in front of you, but the size of the belief inside you. This is why so many people stay small, not because they are not capable, but because they never allow themselves to dream beyond survival. They stay in jobs they hate, in routines that drain them, and in environments that limit them, all because they believe it is safer to stay where they are. But playing small is the most dangerous thing you can do because it kills your potential slowly. It convinces you that you are not meant for more when, in truth, you were never meant to stay where you are. Big thinking is what liberates you from that trap. It expands your mind and forces you to grow into a bigger version of yourself. The moment you picture a future beyond your current struggles, you begin to act differently. You carry yourself with more confidence. You make decisions with more courage, and you pursue opportunities with more energy. People around you start to notice the change, and suddenly, doors that were once closed begin to open because you are no longer approaching life with a small, limited mindset. Big thinking is not just about achieving more, it is about becoming more. It pulls you toward the life you were meant to live by reminding you that the limitations you feel are not permanent. Every great achiever you admire once stood where you are now, staring at the same walls of doubt, fear, and impossibility. The difference is that they decided to break those walls with bigger thoughts, and that decision changed everything. Small thinking is like putting a lid on your own potential, and then wondering why your life never overflows with opportunities. It quietly traps you in an invisible prison where you only see what is within arm's reach, never daring to reach beyond. People who think small play it safe, settle for less, and convince themselves that this is the best they can do. But the tragedy of small thinking is not that it keeps you where you are. It is that it keeps you from ever discovering who you could have become. When you think small, you lower your standards for what is possible. You take fewer risks, you attempt fewer bold moves, and you live your life in a constant state of waiting for the right moment. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment. There is only now. And if your mind is filled with fear, excuses, and hesitation, you will always find a reason why now is not the time. Small thinking kills dreams not with one giant blow, but with a slow, quiet whisper that says, "Stay where you are." Think about how many ideas have died because someone believed they were too big to try. How many books were never written, businesses never started, inventions never created, relationships never pursued, all because someone thought too small about themselves and their future. The difference between a dreamer and a door is not talent. It is not luck, it is not money. It is the willingness to think beyond comfort and act on that thought. Small thinking says, "What if I fail?" Big thinking asks, "What if I succeed?" The problem with small thinking is that it becomes a habit. If you wake up every day expecting nothing extraordinary to happen, you will rarely notice opportunities, even when they are right in front of you. Your mind filters the world to match your expectations, so if you believe life is limited, you will only see limitations. And then you call it reality, not realizing that your reality is being shaped by the size of your thinking. Small thinking also affects the people around you. When you live with a limited mindset, you unconsciously teach others to do the same. Your children, your friends, your colleagues, they begin to adopt your level of belief as their own. Your excuses become their excuses. This is why it is so important to break free from the cycle. You are not just thinking small for yourself, you are modeling small thinking for everyone who is watching you. There is also a heavy emotional cost to living with small thinking. Deep down, you know you are capable of more, and when you ignore that calling, you live with a quiet sense of frustration. You see others taking risks, growing, building, and living fully, and something inside you aches because you know you could have done it too. That inner voice never completely goes away. It keeps reminding you that you were not meant to settle for average. Small thinking may feel safe, but in reality, it is the riskiest way to live. It guarantees that you will never reach your full potential, and that one day you will look back and wonder what could have happened if you had just dared to think bigger. Life is too short to spend it hiding behind small dreams. The moment you break free from small thinking, your results begin to change because your decisions change. Your energy changes and your vision for what is possible grows wider. Believing in the impossible is not something that comes naturally. It takes courage. It takes the kind of inner strength that allows you to hold on to a vision when everything around you tells you it cannot be done. It takes the ability to silence the voices of doubt, not just the ones from other people, but the louder, more dangerous one inside your own mind. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is choosing to act despite fear. It is looking at the mountain in front of you and saying, yes, it is high, yes, it is hard, but I am going to climb it anyway. The reason most people never achieve great things is not because they lack talent, resources, or opportunity. It is because they lack the courage to believe that greatness is possible for them. They talk themselves out of their own dreams before they ever take the first step. They let fear of failure, fear of judgment, and fear of the unknown keep them locked in place. But courage is the key that unlocks the next level of life. The moment you decide to believe in something bigger than your circumstances, you begin to rise above them. Believing in the impossible requires you to see with the eyes of faith. You must train yourself to imagine a future that does not yet exist and hold that picture so strongly in your mind that it becomes more real than your present situation. When you believe in the impossible, you stop waiting for the world to give you permission and start giving yourself permission. You stop asking, is this realistic? And start asking, is this worth fighting for? This kind of courage is uncomfortable because it will separate you from the crowd. People may laugh at you. They may call you unrealistic, naive, or foolish. And you must be prepared to keep believing even when no one else does. Every great breakthrough in history was once considered impossible. Flight, electricity, space travel, the internet. Until someone had the courage to stand up and say, I believe this can be done. That same spirit lives in you, but it must be awakened and strengthened. Courage grows through action. The more steps you take toward your dream, the stronger your belief becomes. At first, it will feel shaky. You will doubt yourself. You will wonder if you're making a mistake. But as you keep moving forward, you will notice small wins along the way, and each victory will give you more confidence to keep going. Courage is built like a muscle. The more you use it, the more powerful it becomes. Believing in the impossible also forces you to confront your deepest fears. It pushes you to face rejection, failure, and setbacks head on. But every time you get back up after falling, your courage grows even stronger. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to realize that the worst that can happen is not as bad as you thought, and that the best that can happen is worth every risk you take. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about having the courage to believe in the impossible is that it inspires others. When you refuse to quit, when you keep believing despite the odds, you give other people permission to do the same. Your courage becomes contagious. Your faith becomes fuel for someone else's journey. You become living proof that impossible is only a word until someone decides to challenge it. Vision is the spark that ignites action. The clearer and bolder your vision, the stronger your actions become. When you can see where you are going, every step you take gains purpose and direction. Without vision, action feels scattered and random. You work hard but achieve little because there is no guiding force behind your effort. But when your mind is locked on a bigger future, your energy becomes focused, your decisions become sharper, and your actions align with where you want to go. This is why so many people feel stuck. They are working hard but without a clear vision. They are moving but not moving forward. They are busy but not building. A powerful vision changes that completely. When you can see the life you are working toward, suddenly waking up early is easier, staying disciplined feels natural, and sacrifices stop feeling like losses and start feeling like investments. Your vision gives you a reason to keep going when everything around you tells you to quit. Action always flows from belief. If you think small, you act small. If you doubt yourself, you hesitate, you procrastinate, you delay. But when your vision is big and alive in your mind, it pulls you into action. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start using what you have. You take the first step even when you cannot see the last one because you trust that each step will reveal the next. This is how momentum is built, not by sitting and waiting, but by moving and adjusting along the way. A strong vision gives you resilience. Life will test you. There will be obstacles, setbacks, and seasons where nothing seems to be working. Without vision, those moments will break you. But with vision, those moments shape you. You start to see challenges not as signs to stop, but as training for the future you are building. You tell yourself, if I can endure this, I will be ready for the next level. Vision gives pain a purpose. When you are crystal clear about where you are going, you also become more intentional about who you allow around you. You no longer waste time with people who drain your energy or distract you from your goals. You seek out mentors, partners, and friends who challenge you to grow and hold you accountable to your own potential. Vision acts like a filter. It helps you say no to what does not serve your future and yes to what moves you closer to it. The truth is, action becomes easier when vision is strong. You don't have to push yourself as hard because your dream begins to pull you forward. It fuels you with passion and a sense of urgency. You wake up with a reason. You work with focus. You finish the day knowing you are one step closer to the life you see in your mind. And that sense of progress is addictive. Once you experience it, you want more of it, and that hunger drives even more action. So many people wait until they feel motivated before taking action, not realizing that vision is what creates motivation. The more you remind yourself of where you are going, the more willing you are to do what it takes to get there. Vision is not just a picture. It is a compass, a motivator, and the foundation of consistent action. When you think big, you don't just change your own life. You light a fire in the lives of the people who watch you. Big thinking has a ripple effect. It moves beyond you and spreads into your family, your friends, your team, your community. People are always watching, even when you don't realize it. They notice how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you approach challenges, and how you respond to setbacks. When they see you dream beyond limitations and act with boldness, something inside them awakens. You give them silent permission to start believing that they too can aim higher. This is why your thinking matters so much, because it is never just about you. Your children are learning how to think by watching how you respond to life. Your friends measure their courage by how much courage you display. Your team takes risks only as big as the ones you are willing to take. If you think small, you unconsciously teach others to shrink their dreams as well. But when you think big, when you talk about big ideas and chase after them with passion, you raise the level of belief in the room. People start to see possibilities they never considered before simply because you modeled what it looks like to believe. Big thinking creates energy. It excites people. It draws them in. When you talk about a vision that is bigger than yourself, others want to be part of it. They want to contribute, support, and add their strength to help make it real. This is how movements are born, from one person with a big enough dream to attract others who share the same fire. Your dream may start with you, but if it is truly big enough, it will eventually involve others. And the bigger your dream, the more people it has the power to impact. Even in your struggles, big thinking is inspiring. People are not only moved by your victories, but by your persistence through adversity. When they see you refuse to quit despite setbacks, they are encouraged to keep going in their own battles. Your courage becomes their courage. Your faith becomes their faith. Many times you won't even know who you are inspiring. A co-worker watching from a distance, a family member quietly observing, a stranger who heard your story. Big thinking plants seeds in people's hearts that can grow long after you are gone. This is why it is dangerous to hide your dreams or to play small just to make others comfortable. When you shrink yourself, you rob others of the inspiration they might have found in your courage. Thinking big is not arrogance, it is leadership. It is choosing to step out first so others can see what is possible. You become the proof that it can be done. And when you inspire others, you also strengthen yourself. There is something powerful about knowing that your example is helping someone else. It makes you more committed, more disciplined, more focused, because you know others are counting on you. Big thinking becomes bigger when it is shared, and the more you share it, the more momentum it gains. Eventually, your dream stops being just yours. It becomes a vision that carries an entire group of people toward a shared future. The life you are living right now is a reflection of the thoughts you have been thinking for years, and the life you will live in the future will be shaped by the thoughts you choose to think today. Your mind is like a silent architect, constantly designing the blueprint of your destiny. Every belief, every expectation, every internal conversation you have with yourself is laying a brick in the foundation of your future. This means that your tomorrow is not built tomorrow. It is built today. The thoughts you allow to stay in your mind today are creating the reality you will wake up to months or even years from now. This is both empowering and challenging. It is empowering because it means you are not a prisoner of circumstance. You are a participant in the creation of your own future. You are not stuck with the life you have now. You can reshape it by reshaping your thinking. But it is challenging because it forces you to take responsibility. You cannot keep thinking the same negative, fearful, limited thoughts and expect a bigger, brighter future to suddenly appear. You must change the input if you want to change the outcome. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They were intentional about their thinking long before they had anything to show for it. They held a picture of success in their minds, still living in a place of struggle. They trained their minds to focus on where they were going instead of where they were. And because they refused to let go of those thoughts, their actions slowly shaped the future to match what they had been seeing all along. This is why your thoughts are so powerful. They are creating momentum in one direction or the other. If your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, and limitation, your future will reflect that. You will make choices that keep you safe but small. You will hesitate when opportunities come. You will avoid risks that could have changed everything, and you will settle for what is comfortable because your mind convinced you that more was not possible. But if your thoughts are filled with courage, faith, and vision, your future will reflect that too. You will walk with a different kind of confidence. You will take bolder steps, you will persevere through setbacks, and you will attract opportunities that match the level of belief you carry inside. This is why it is so important to feed your mind daily with the right things. If you want a strong future, build a strong mental diet. Read books that expand your thinking. Listen to voices that encourage you to grow. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to dream bigger, not those who pull you back to average. Your future is too important to let toxic thoughts, negative influences, and small-minded conversations control what you believe. Every day, you are either designing a future you will be proud of or building one you will regret. The thoughts you choose today are like seeds. They will grow into habits, decisions, and results. Some people look at their future with fear, but you have the power to look at yours with excitement because you are shaping it right now. This is not about waiting for luck to find you. It is about preparing yourself mentally so that when opportunity comes, you are ready to seize it. Your thoughts today are quietly writing the story of your life tomorrow. That story can be one of limitation or one of greatness, and the choice is entirely yours.